and 72% of the time the market goes up. And the answer came to me. And that's when I developed my chart. The answer came to me is because, just like Caterpillar, when they pull their money out, you get out. Whoa.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Network.
Oh, God. Are you nuts?
With your host, Phil Grande.
Bye. Well, quite a day today. A lot of red across the board, isn't there? You know, it's amazing to me that how we keep hearing how everything is terrific, right? We're the strongest country, everything's going great. But I have never gotten more emails in my life where people keep saying, when do you think the market's going to crash? It's on everybody's mind. And especially you take the midterm elections, that's going to be very, very difficult for the Republicans to pull it off. I mean, you know, everybody can laugh over these communists and these morons. I mean, I've never seen such stupid people. In fact, the other day, what's that kid's name on Fox, Jesse? He has this guy on the street, and I couldn't believe asking college kids on a break questions. Who's the vice president? They don't know. They know nothing about this country. But when you tell them, they say, oh yeah, we want socialism, we want communism. They don't even know how to spell it. I'll bet you if you asked them to point on a map where Cuba is, they wouldn't even know where it is on the map. I mean, they're so dumb, these kids, unbelievable. And they're going through our schools, our colleges, and they're learning nothing. I mean, it's just amazing. So my point being is that the stock market, everybody asks, when's it going to crash? And people say, well, you know, if I give them an answer, they, well, you know, it's not going to, with AI, it's not going to crash or can't crash with AI. They can keep it going on forever. Well, that's not true. So let's take a look. When does the market actually crash? Wall Street's not going to tell you the truth. Why would they tell you the truth? It's not in their best interest. So it's real simple. When the 2-year Treasury, that's the most important Treasury, because the 2-year affects everything. When the 2-year and 10-year yield hit what they cost, their crash zone. The stock market identifies a crash zone for the 2-year and 10-year, although they don't want to tell you about it. And the yield can tell you exactly when it's going to crash, because it can tell you exactly when the oxygen breath, okay, the numbers start disappearing, meaning that the oxygen to our rally is the amount of stocks, okay, that are participating in that rally. We talked about the last week. We used to have 300-400 stocks behind any rally, behind a market, no more, 7 stocks. And of course, they financially engineered it where they've taken parking space in the retail investors' mind that, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I can see how they worked it out where 7 stocks through a waiting program now are as much breadth as 400 stocks. And people believe that. So, I mean, that's ridiculous. But there's a crash zone. So let's take the 2-year crash zone, the most important yield. It's at 5.25. 5.25. We're not far from that. Now we're what? 4.19. Okay. Now a comfort zone where everything seems okay is at 4.10, Well, we're 9 points above that already. That's the 2-year. That's pretty bad. Now take the 10-year. Its crash zone is 5%. A little bit lower than the 10-year. At current, we're around 4.7, and its comfort zone, where it feels comfortable, is around 4.25. But we're not at 4.25, we're at 4.7. And the comfort zone on 2-year, okay, is 4.10, we're at 4.19. So we're heading towards the crash zone. So just remember the crash zone on a 2-year is 5.25, and the 10-year is 5. And it's never failed. But Wall Street won't tell you that. They don't want you to understand that. They want you to buy so they can dump on you their stocks and get out. Now, a crash occurs when you suffocate the market. There's no oxygen, no breath. So that's when you have too few stocks that are participating. And when you have only 7 stocks participating in the stock market, where all the money is chasing just 7 stocks, you're screwed because you don't have the breadth. When you used to have 300-400 stocks, that was good breadth. Breath is oxygen. The more stocks you have participating, the more breath you got going in the market, the more oxygen. Now, the beautiful thing about the 2 and the 10-year, it tells us exactly, you don't have to guess, it tells you exactly when the crash will occur. As I said, it will hit its crash zone. I'll give it to you again. 2-year, 5.25. 10-year, 5. So most people, when you talk to them about breath, they don't even know what that is. They think it's, hey, you got bad breath in the market today. They think, that's salami breath with a lot of garlic. No. So again, when the oxygen gets cut off, when you have bad breath, the oxygen will get cut off. Bad breath means you don't have enough stocks participating, so the oxygen gets cut off. And you're done. The market's done. Okay, the market's done. Yields tell you exactly when that oxygen breath will get cut off, when it's going to disappear. It never lies. That's why professional traders always look at the bond market when they're trading, because the bond market is the truth serum. It tells you exactly what's going on. Exactly. For example, if you're going to buy the bank stocks, you want to make sure that the bank stocks are yield friendly. What's that mean? If you're going to buy the bank stocks, don't buy them when yields are going down. You got to buy them when yields are going up. If you're going to buy tech stocks, you want to buy tech stocks, okay, when you got yields going down, not up. They're just the opposite. So you have these tourist investors who jump in, have no clue. They could be jumping into banks instead of having yields up, where it's a yield-friendly market, it's yields down, which means the market is wrong. If the bank stocks are going up, they're going up for the wrong reason. But people are piling in, putting money in so it can go up. They can force the market up. But the minute that market stops receiving all this money, it will fall like a flying whale. So where does this market really, really stand if you take all the BS out, okay, and take out the magnificent 7 stocks that are lifting all the stocks up, lifting 700 stocks? They're holding them up. If you strip those names out of the S&P, are you talking about deep trouble or what? So right now, at the same time, yields are sitting above the comfort zone for equities. The 10-year, again, is in the mid-4s, and the 2-year above 4. And the margin debt, here's what nobody understands. Margin debt is at an all-time high. And that's the leverage that people are using to buy stocks. And that's leverage, that's the breadth that narrows and makes the market fragile. When you have this kind, and if you don't believe it, look at the crashes that occurred because of margin debt. And we got bigger margin debt now than we ever had. You take margin debt, the market always crashes within months, okay, within months of a major top. And how do you know when you're at a major top? Well, you can tell from your yields. Your yields are going to tell you when the market's going to crash. It's never wrong. .com, 2000, 2002. Margin debt, $279 billion. The S&P dropped 49%, wiping people out about $8 billion. 2007, 2008, the financial crisis, the banks. Margin debt peaked, $381 billion. The S&P got wiped out, 57%. Now think about that, 57% compared to 49%. And when the margin debt was at $279 billion between 2000 and 2002, and the market got wiped out 49%. And then 2007, 2009, the margin debt wasn't that much higher. It was only $381 billion, and the market dropped 57%. So if you take the .com and the housing con, the financial con, think about, they both dropped, the average amount, a little bit over 50%. Oh, this is going to be far worse. So people don't know how to short, you're going to get killed. But people know how to short, you're going to make a ton of money. Now, 2018, I remember this crash, because I said it was going to crash, everybody thought I was nuts, but it did. It was the fourth quarter, 2018. The S&P dropped 20%. Now, 2020, 2021, we had another. Now, remember, what I'm telling you here, all these crashes were occurred because of margin debt. And think about the margin debt. Not even close to where we are today. $279 billion. The next crash. $381 billion. The next crash. $669 billion. The next crash. 2021, 2022, $936 billion. We're over $1 trillion. Are you nuts? So, and why this market has got to correct, we talked about this before, because the middle class is suffering, and the middle class can't build positions in the stock market. That's why they have to go borrow money. The middle class that keeps the stock market alive have to go and borrow money so they can buy stocks, because you can't build a position. 100 shares of Microsoft was $5,500 in 2016. I think I gave you these numbers before. You need $50,000 today. 10 years later, you need $50,000 to start building a position. The middle class don't have that. Apple, you only needed $2,600 in 2016 to build a position of 100 shares. Today, Apple, you need $30,000. 100 shares, $30,000, compared to Apple in 2016 needing $2,600 to build a position with 100 shares. It's the same 100, but it's up 30,000. What are you, nuts? Amazon was 3,700 in 2016 to build a position, buy 100 shares. You need 27,000 today. What are you, nuts? This is insane. And the fact that only the same 7 stocks, people are chasing the same 7 stocks every day. Now, what this has identified, when you see from 2016, just 10 years, how much it takes to build a position, that's why margin debt's over $1 trillion. And why is it they allow these people to keep borrowing on margin? Well, because you always lose. The market has always been designed for Wall Street to win, for you to lose. It's always been designed that way. They never lose. So they're throwing money out there. People are borrowing that money left and right. They're getting in deeper and deeper. And think about the middle class. Let's compare it to 2016. The middle class today, compared to 2016, the middle class is in the weakest shape ever. But you don't hear that on TV. You're hearing that everything's beautiful. Best economy ever in the world. Everybody's making money. 401ks are up 30,000. No, they're not. They're only up 9,000. Middle class, compared to 2016, is in deep, deep, deep trouble. Housing costs have exploded. Wages are barely keeping up with essentials like child care and health care. And this Obamacare, boy, did we get screwed by Obama. Did we ever get screwed by him? The cost of a single person, $600 a month, family, $1,700 a month. And what did he do? Him, Pelosi, masked it by subsidizing it. So you pay, so these people, oh, gee, my bill went from $1,700 down to $100. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. We're going to build a statue to Obama. Oh, no. Hold on a minute here. You're still paying $1,700, but instead of writing a check for $1,700 directly to healthcare, you're going to write $100 to healthcare. The other $1,600 you're going to write. Your mortgage payment is going to be much higher. Your health care is going through the roof. Everything you pay for, your school education, your books, your food, your car, your gas, your oil, the insurance you have on your house, every one of those items have gone up. They screwed us. You're still paying $1,700. But they were so clever, they could mask it so they could be the heroes that everybody look at Obama as this big hero. And Pelosi, when they screwed everything, you're still paying $1,700. Get out of your mind, you're paying $100. So when you pay $1,700, when you pay $100, oh, I'm covered, my family's covered, I got 4 members of my family. Are you crazy? The middle class has shrunk, for God's sakes. By 50, think about this. The middle class share of adults, okay, was around 50%. Okay, that's down from 61%. Okay, so we were up to 61%. Now we're down to 50%. Housing costs has gone nuts. In 10 years, the median home price went up 84%. 10 years, 2016, have gone up 84%. Is your salary going up 84%? All we hear every day is how beautiful the economy is, best economy ever. We never had an economy like this. Mortgage rates are up 86%. You don't pay 3.6% anymore. We're paying 6.8%. Monthly mortgage payments are 3 times higher than in 2016. The middle class is being screwed. The middle class is being priced out. And to keep them in the stock market, Wall Street's screwing them even more, making them think, oh, God, they're going to loan me money. No, they're robbing you. They're robbing you. And you always lose. 95% of you lose on every stock you trade. And so cost of living, that $1,700 you think you get for $100? Or if you're a single guy and instead of paying $600, you think you got this big break, you're only paying $100? Oh, really? No, because the cost of living is outrunning wages, because to make up for the difference, they screwed you on your wages. You can't keep up. That's because that's how they paid for health care. So if you think overall inflation is up 41% in 10 years, that's how Obama got to pay for the health care that you think was discounted from $1,700 to $100. No, it wasn't. You're still paying $1,700. So your household income is barely keeping up. Home insurance is up 44% because of Obamacare. He has to subsidize it. Maintenance is up 79% in 10 years because he had to, guess what? He had to subsidize the health care. So this health care is destroying our country. Utilities are up 27%. Why? Well, that's how they are able to take a single person for Obamacare who should be paying $600, they're only paying $100, and the family member of 4 who should be paying $1,700, only paying $100 because home insurance is up 44%, maintenance up 79%, property taxes are up 43%, utilities are up 27%, rents up 68%, gas is up 65%, new cars 48%, child care 312%, child care, health care 248%, and these idiots think the answer is socialism? You take these young punks, these college-educated kids, they were born with silver spoons in their mouth. Now all of a sudden they're going to be communists, right? They can't pick out. I'll get you, they can't pick out Nam on a map anywhere, Laos, or I bet you they can't pick out even Cuba. I bet you they don't even know where Cuba is. But you see where we're going? So the market can't withstand this. That's what the market's not talking about. That's what Wall Street's not talking about. Nobody on these TV shows are pointing this out and saying to you, do you know how important it is to learn how to sell stocks short? Because that's the only place you can make money in the stock market now. Because you are going to have a hell of a crash. The only reason they've been able to keep this market propped up, okay, is because all this QE we had for 13 years. They kept it propped up. So, but there's nothing else to keep this market propped up. If they go back to QE again, are you nuts? So now we're in such bad shape, we have 7 stocks holding up the whole market. That's called breadth. The breadth is narrow. We never had such dangerous breadth. 7 stocks holding up this market where, again, in 10 years, healthcare is up 248%, childcare is up 312%, everything else up 60, 68. I'll just give you numbers. Plus 44, plus 79, plus 43, plus 27, plus 68, all because of healthcare. That's how you're getting your healthcare for $100 instead of $1,700. So what can the middle class buy today? It's hard to buy any stocks. My God. I mean, you have to put a mortgage on your house to buy 100 shares of Apple, for God's sakes. So let's think about it. 10 years. Home price to income ratio, 51%. Nobody can afford a home. Why? Obamacare, that's why. So when you see Obama, he's got his homes all over the world, and he's a multimillionaire, and he just remember what he did to you. Mr. Smiley Face. They should have a contest between Salami Mahami in New York and Obama. They should have a smiling contest between those two. So you can outsmile each other while they stab you in the back with a knife and turn it. So home prices are up 51%, new car prices up 118%, your college tuition, I don't know what you're going to learn in college, 203%. 203%. Rent up 115%, and child care 312, and health care 248. Are you out of your mind? Home ownership is out of reach, man. How can you say we have the best economy ever when home ownership is out of reach? You can't say that, but you're telling us that every day. In 2016, housing cost was 28% of our income. It's doubled. It's almost doubled. You have nothing left to go out to dinner with. Thank Obama. That's because of Obamacare. You know, when you subsidize something that's $1,700 and you get it for $100, and that's what these kids don't understand when they're out there yelling and saying, we want socialism. They don't get it. They don't even understand they can't even spell the word, these college kids. So, and now what to read from the institutional money that's taking their money out of the market and sitting on the sidelines. And now we have in the market, instead of the institutional money, we have machines, programs that try to screw traders every day who don't know how to sell short. I mean, just think about the institutions say we're not coming back to the market until the yields start settling down. You can't have yields flipping 15 times a day when you used to flip 1 to 3 times a day. You can't have yields flipping 40 times over a month period when it used to be about 8 times. That makes no sense. And that's why the big boys, the big institutions, are sitting on the sidelines with their money. They got to bring it back in. And so who's doing the trading? The machines. And that's a bad thing. But if you know how to trade correctly, these are the greatest times to be trading. This is where everybody makes big money. This is where pros make big money. If you know how to buy and sell short, you can make a ton of money. But if all you do is go long and you're looking for leadership from CNBC every morning when the market opens, good luck. They're not there to help you. Okay, that's it for today. All right. So again, the market's down big, and the Dow's down almost 700 points. Nasdaq's down. The problem is, as I said, we have narrow breadth. It doesn't work. You can't hold up 700 stocks with 7 stocks. You're out of your mind. It doesn't work that way. But if you know how to short, you'd be celebrating it because you're going to make a ton of money when this market falls like a flying crowbar. See you tomorrow. philsgang.com. Check us out.
Are you nuts?